My uncle called me on a Thursday. He is my mother's older brother. His name is Samuel. He is 63 years old and has been the specific form of the family member who is warm at the occasions and who does not give the interior in the personal form. He is the form of the man who manages the practical things and who is in the presence form at the Christmas table without being in the sharing the interior form. He called on a Thursday, 10 days after the miscarriage. He said, "I heard from your mother." He said, "I want to tell you something." He said, "I want to ask you to receive it in the form that it is being given, rather than the form that you expect from me." He said, "The form you expect from me is the practical support form." He said, "I want to give you a different form." He said, "My wife and I lost a pregnancy 20 years ago." He said, "We have never told anyone." He said, "Not our children, not my sister, your mother, no one." He said, "I am telling you because I want you to know you are not in the alone form. I want to say something about the form of the call and about what the call had produced in the receiving." He had said, "I want to be specific about what I mean." He had said, "The alone form is the form of the person who is in the experience without the knowing that others have been in the same experience." He had said, "The alone form is not the being without support form." He had said, "You have support." He had said, "The alone form is the form of the being in the experience without the knowing it has been experienced by someone you love." He had said, "I want to give you the knowing." He had said, "I cannot change what happened." He had said, "I can give you the knowing that 20 years ago in June, my wife and I were in the form you are in now." He had said, "I want to tell you about that June, if you are willing to receive it." I had said, "Tell me." He had told me. He talked for an hour. I had been in the form of the person receiving the thing they had not expected from the person who had not been in the giving this form before. I'm a neuroscientist. I have been working for 5 years at a brain research institute in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where I study the mechanisms of the memory consolidation, the specific work of understanding how the brain transforms the recent experience into the durable form, how the hippocampus encodes the event, and how the subsequent processing across the following days and weeks and months organizes the event into the long-term form. My work requires the specific attention to the period after the event, the consolidation period, the time when the encoding is being organized into the durable form. I had been doing this work for 5 years. The Thursday call had arrived in me in the professional language. Samuel had been consolidating the June experience for 20 years in the interior form. The interior form had been the encoding that had never been given the social consolidation, the event preserved without the shared processing. The Thursday call had been the first time the June experience had been given the social form. The social form had produced the giving to me. I had been the first person to receive the June experience from the outside of Samuel's interior. I want to say something about my uncle Samuel, and about who he had been in the form I had known him across 33 years, and about what the Thursday call had given me for the fuller picture. He had been in the form I had known him, the specific form of the uncle who was in the presence at the occasions form, the warmth and the practical and the attending to the things that needed attending without the sharing of the interior. He had been the form that had the specific quality of the man who has organized his life around the doing form rather than the saying form. He had been at every Christmas and every Thanksgiving and every significant occasion for 33 years. He had been warm in the form of the uncle. He had not been in the form of the uncle who gave the specific interior things in the verbal form. The Thursday call had been the first verbal interior thing in 33 years. The first verbal interior thing from the person who had not been in the verbal interior form was the specific form of the first, the specific weight of the thing given for the first time from the form that had not given this form before. The weight was specific. The weight was good. I had received the weight in the form of the person who understood the weight was specific. Before I go on, if something in this story is landing close to something real in your life, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you genuinely feel it. Drop a comment and tell me where you are watching from and what time it is there. I read every single one. My name is Yara. I am 33 years old. I'm a neuroscientist in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And this is the story of the Thursday call and what Samuel told me about the June 20 years ago and about what the telling gave me in the form of the not alone knowing, and about what the year since the Thursday has been building, and what I understand now about the form of the interior that has been waiting for the right moment to be given. I want to say something about the fuller account Samuel had given across the hour and about the form the account had taken. He had said, "I want to give you the specific account rather than the general." He had said, "The general is, we went through a loss." He had said, "The specific is what I am going to give you." He had given me the specific account of the June, the specific form of the receiving the news, the specific form of the days after, the specific form of the weeks after, the specific form of the year after, in which both he and his wife had been in the form of the people who were carrying the thing without the giving. He had given me the specific form of the not giving, the specific reasons they had not given the thing to the people they loved. He had said, "We did not tell because the telling would have required the other people to be in the form that they would have needed to be in for the telling." He had said, "We did not have the form for asking the other people to be in the form the telling required." He had been quiet. He had said, "I understand now that the not telling had a cost." He had said, "The cost was the alone form." He had said, "The alone form for 20 years is the cost I have been paying." He had said, "I am giving you the knowing because I do not want you to pay the 20-year form of the cost." I want to say something about the neuroscience parallel and about what the memory consolidation had given me for understanding the 20 years of the interior holding. In neuroscience, the memory consolidation is the process by which the newly encoded memory is transformed into the long-term durable form. The synaptic changes in the hippocampus that encode the event are followed by the system's consolidation, in which the memory is gradually transferred to the neocortex, where it is stored in the distributed form across the years. The system's consolidation takes months and years. The recent memory is fragile and susceptible to the disruption, and the consolidated memory is more stable and more integrated with the other memories. The social form of the sharing is part of the consolidation. The shared event is processed through the conversation and the narrative form and the receiving of the other person's response. The event that is never shared is consolidated without the social processing. The consolidated without social processing form is the form that is real and durable and also integrated without the social dimension. Samuel had been consolidating the June for 20 years without the social processing. The Thursday call had been the social processing arriving 20 years after the encoding. The social processing had arrived. I want to say something about his wife and about what she had said when I had asked Samuel about her. Her name is Patricia. She is 60 years old. He had said, "Patricia knows I am calling you." He had said, "Patricia and I talked about this for a year before I called." He had said, "Not the talking about whether to call, the talking about the form of the 20 years. He had said, "Patricia and I had not fully talked to each other about the June until the year before the Thursday." He had said, "We had been carrying it together without the full talking." He had said, "The full talking arrived last year." He had said, "The full talking between us produced the form of the giving." He had said, "After the full talking, I understood I needed to give the knowing to someone who needed the not alone form." He had been quiet. He had said, "Patricia said, give it to Yara." She had been quiet. He had said, "Patricia said it before I had arrived at the person to give it to." He had said, "She said Yara immediately." He had said, "I had been thinking about whether to give it and who to give it to, and she said Yara immediately." He had been quiet. He had said, "The immediately told me Patricia was right." I had said, "Yes." He had said, "Yes." Patricia had said immediately. The immediately had been the form. I want to say something about the neuroscience concept of the reconsolidation and what the reconsolidation had given me for understanding what the full talking between Samuel and Patricia had produced. In neuroscience, the reconsolidation is the process by which a retrieved memory is temporarily destabilized and then restabilized in a modified form. When a consolidated memory is reactivated by the recall, it becomes labile again, open to modification, and then must be reconsolidated. The reconsolidation allows the memory to be updated by the new information. The reconsolidation is the mechanism by which old memories are changed by the new context. The full talking between Samuel and Patricia had been the reconsolidation. The retrieval of the 20-year-old June memory had destabilized it. The new context of the full talking had modified it. The reconsolidation had produced the updated form of the June memory. The updated form had been the form that could be given to me. The not updated form had been the form that could not be given. The reconsolidation had made the giving possible. The full talking had been the reconsolidation. The reconsolidation had produced the Thursday call. The Thursday call had been the gift of the reconsolidation. I want to say something about what the not alone knowing had produced in me in the form of the receiving, and about the specific quality of the receiving. I had been in the form of the person in the loss for 10 days when the call had arrived. The 10 days had been the form that the 10 days after the loss take. The specific quality of the after that is real and difficult, and that has the specific form of the processing the loss in the way the loss requires. I had not been in the alone form in the sense of the without support. I had my husband, I had my mother. I had the specific people who had come in the support form. I had been in the alone form in the sense that Samuel had named, the form of the being in the experience without the knowing it had been experienced by someone you loved. The Thursday call had given me the knowing. The knowing had changed the form of the alone, not the eliminating the difficult, the specific quality of the not alone. The not alone had been the form of the knowing that the experience had a history in the family, that the experience had been lived by Samuel and Patricia in June 20 years ago, that the experience had been survived and integrated and eventually become the thing that could be given to me. The knowing that the experience had been survived had been the gift. The gift had been the Thursday call. I want to say something about my husband and about what he had said when I had told him about the Thursday call and the June 20 years ago. His name is Remy. He is 35 years old. He had been with me in the 10 days and had been in the form of the person who is present for the difficult thing in the form that is available to them. When I had told him about the Thursday call, he had been very quiet. He had said, "Samuel called." I had said, "Yes." He had said, "Samuel told you about June." I had said, "Yes." He had been quiet. He had said, "I want to tell you something about what Samuel did." He had said, "Samuel did the thing that is the hardest form of the giving." He had said, "The hardest form of the giving is the giving of the thing that has been in the interior for the long time." He had said, "The thing that has been in the interior for the long time has the specific weight of the long interior form." He had said, "The long interior form has the weight of the 20 years of the holding." He had said, "Samuel gave you the 20-year interior thing." He had been quiet. He had said, "That form of the giving is rarer than most forms." He had said, "I want you to receive it in the form that the rarity deserves." I had said, "Yes." He had said, "Yes." The rarity was real. The receiving was real. Both were good. I want to say something about the neuroscience research I had been doing in the fall of the Thursday call year, and about what the research had been in conversation with the year. I had been working on the analysis of the post-event consolidation in the mouse hippocampus, the specific form of the neuroscience research that uses the electrophysiological recordings during the sleep period after the learning event to understand how the hippocampus replays the event and transmits the encoded information to the neocortex. The sleep replay had been producing the specific findings. The hippocampal neurons that were active during the learning event were reactivated in the same sequence during the subsequent sleep, and the reactivation produced the synaptic changes in the neocortex that transferred the memory from the hippocampus to the distributed cortical form. The sleep replay was the consolidation mechanism. I had been analyzing the sleep replay data with the Thursday call in the background. Both had been the same form, the post-event processing that transformed the recent encoding into the durable distributed form. The mouse hippocampus sleep replay and the 20-year interior consolidation had been the same mechanism in the different registers. Both had been the processing that made the recent event into the thing that could persist and eventually be given. I want to say something about calling Samuel back 2 weeks after the Thursday call and about what had happened in the second call. I had called him on a Saturday morning in the form of the person who had been living with the Thursday for 2 weeks and who had arrived at the form for the calling back. He had answered in the form of the person who had been waiting for the call and who was in the receiving form. I had said, "I want to thank you for the Thursday call." He had been quiet. I had said, "I want to tell you what the Thursday call gave me." He had been quiet. I had said, "I want to tell you the specific thing." I had said, "The Thursday call gave me the not alone knowing." I had said, "The not alone knowing is the specific form of the knowing that the experience has a history in the family." He had been quiet. I had said, "The experience having a history in the family tells me the experience has been survived." He had been quiet. I had said, "The surviving is the thing the knowing gives." He had been quiet for a long time. He had said, "I want to tell you something about receiving that." He had said, "I have been hoping the knowing would give you the surviving." He had said, "I did not know if the knowing would give the surviving form." He had said, "I hoped it would." He had been quiet. He had said, "I am glad it did." I had said, "Yes." He had said, "Yes." The surviving had arrived through the knowing. The knowing had given the surviving. Both were good. I want to say something about the June account Samuel had given and about the specific form of the 20-year-ago June that he had described and what the description had given me for the understanding of the form. He had said, "I want to give you the specific form of what the June was like." He had said, "The June was the form of the loss before we had the language for the loss." He had said, "In the form we were in 20 years ago, the loss of a pregnancy in the early form was not the form that had the language." He had said, "The loss had the experience form without the language form." He had said, "The language was, 'These things happen. It was early. You will try again.'" He had said, "The experience was the form he had described in the specific." He had said, "I want to be specific about the June, because the specific is what I want to give you." He had given me the specific form of the Thursday night in June when the loss had become clear, the specific form of the June weekend after, the specific form of the returning to the ordinary life while carrying the non-ordinary thing. He had given me the specific form of the returning to the ordinary. He had said, "The returning to the ordinary while carrying the non-ordinary thing is the specific hard form." He had said, "I want you to know the specific hard form has been survived." He had said, "The returning to the ordinary is survivable." He had been quiet. He had said, "I want you to know that." I want to say something about calling Patricia, Samuel's wife, after the second call with Samuel and about what she had said. She had answered in the warm form. She had known I was going to call. She had said, "I want to tell you something about the decision to give you the knowing." She had said, "Samuel had been considering the giving for a year." She had said, "I had understood from the year of the considering that Samuel was in the form that needed the help with the decision." She had been quiet. She had said, "I want to tell you something about what made the decision." She had said, "The decision came from the full talking between us." She had said, "The full talking between Samuel and me in the year before the Thursday was the form that made the decision possible." She had said, "The full talking was the form in which both of us received the June from each other for the first time in the full form." She had been quiet. She had said, "I want to tell you something about what the full talking gave me." She had said, "The full talking gave me the form of the person who is in the 20-year event with the other person, rather than beside the other person." She had said, "We had been beside each other in the event for 20 years." She had said, "The full talking put us in the event together." She had been quiet. She had said, "Being in the event together rather than beside it together changed the form." She had said, "The changed form produced the giving to you." I had said, "Yes." She had said, "Yes." The changed form had been the gift. The gift had arrived on Thursday. I want to say something about the neuroscience concept of the social memory and what the social memory had given me for understanding what Patricia had described in the being beside versus being in form. In neuroscience, the social memory is the specific form of the memory that involves the other person, the memory of the social interaction, encoded with the specific social context. The social memory involves the specific brain circuits, the hippocampus, the prefrontal cortex, the amygdala. in the specific form of the encoding that includes the emotional and the relational dimensions. The social memory is different from the non-social memory because the social memory includes the self in relation to other as the context of the encoding. The being beside form of the event had been the form in which Samuel and Patricia had each encoded the June separately, the individual memory of the individual experience. The full talking had been the form in which both had encoded the June together, the shared social memory, the encoding that included the self in relation to the other who is also in the event. The shared social memory was the different encoding from the individual beside form memory. Both had been the June. Both had been real. The full talking had produced the second form. The second form had produced the giving to me. The giving was the gift of the second encoding. I want to say something about what the Thursday call had given my mother and about what she had said when I had told her about the call. Her name is Dina. She is 58 years old. She had been in the form of the support across the 10 days and had been the form of the mother who was present and who had been the practical and the present form. I had told her about the Thursday call on the Saturday after the second call with Samuel. She had been very quiet. She had said, "Samuel called you." I had said, "Yes." She had been very quiet for a long time. She had said, "I want to tell you that I did not know." She had been quiet. She had said, "Samuel has been my brother for 63 years, and I did not know about June." She had been quiet. She had said, "I want to tell you what the not knowing tells me about Samuel." She had said, "The not knowing tells me Samuel has been the form of the person who carries the interior things alone." She had been quiet. She had said, "I have known him in the practical form for 63 years. She had said, "The practical form is the form he has given." She had said, "I did not know the interior form." She had been quiet. She had said, "I am glad he gave the interior form to you." She had been quiet. She had said, "I am glad the interior form was there." She had said, "The interior form being there tells me Samuel has been deeper than the practical form I have been receiving." She had been quiet. She had said, "I want to call him." I had said, "Yes." She had said, "Yes." I want to say something about what had happened after my mother had called Samuel and about the form of the thing that had been produced in the sibling contact. She had called him on the Sunday. I had not been in the call. She had told me the account afterward. She had said, "I called Samuel and I told him I knew about June." She had said, Samuel had been very quiet. She had said, he had said, "You knew." She had said, she had told him no. She had said, "I told her." She had said, he had been quiet for a long time. She had said, "I told him I was glad you had called Yara." She had said, "I told him the calling was the form I had not known he had." She had said, he had said, "The form has been there." She had said, "I told him I was sorry I had not known." She had said, he had said, "You could not have known without my giving." She had said, he had said, "I did not give." She had said, he had said, "I am giving now." She had said, I told him the giving was real. She had said, he had been quiet for a long time. She had said, then he had said, I wish I had given sooner. She had said, I had said, you gave when you were ready. She had been quiet. She had said, the call had been good. I had said, yes. She had said yes. The sibling call had been good. The giving had opened the form. The open form was good. I want to say something about the most complete thing the Thursday call had given me, and about what I had received in the form of the understanding across the years since. The most complete thing had been, the interior form that has been held alone is not the less real form. The interior form held alone for 20 years had been real for 20 years. The not giving had not reduced the reality. The giving to me had also not increased the reality. The giving had given me the knowing of the reality. Both the reality and the knowing of the reality had been given. The reality had existed for 20 years in Samuel's interior. The knowing of the reality had arrived in me on the Thursday. Both had been the same event in the different forms. The event had been the June. The interior reality had been Samuel's form of the June. The knowing had been my form of the June. Both forms had been produced by the same event. The event had been real for 20 years before I received the knowing of it. The knowing had been given across the 10 days of the loss, when the not alone form was the form I needed. The timing had been Samuel's timing. The timing had been the right timing. The right timing had arrived on Thursday. The Thursday had been good. All of it had been good. I want to say something about the neuroscience research and about what the year has given the work and what the work has given the year. The memory consolidation research had been the form of the professional work for 5 years. The work had been good. The Thursday call year had given me the inside understanding of the consolidation as the form that makes the experience available to the giving when the giving becomes possible. The sleep replay that transferred the hippocampal encoding to the neocortex had been making the event available for the long-term form, the durable form that can be retrieved and given when the retrieval is the right form. Samuel's 20 years had been the consolidation period, the long-term form building in the interior, the event becoming more integrated and more available as the years had accumulated. The full talking between Samuel and Patricia had been the reconsolidation, the retrieval and modification that had updated the form and made the giving possible. The Thursday call had been the retrieval for the giving. The professional consolidation and the 20-year interior consolidation had been the same process in the different registers. Both had been the making available of the encoded event for the giving at the right time. The right time had been the Thursday 10 days after the loss. The right time had arrived. The giving had arrived. The year had been good in both registers. I want to say something about the most recent Sunday call with Samuel and about what the call had been in the form the year had arrived at. He had called at noon in the established form. The established form had been building since the Thursday, the regular contact that had not been the established form before the Thursday. We had been in the call for 40 minutes in the form the year had built, the fuller form, the form that had the Thursday in it as the background of the regular contact. He had been telling me about the week. Near the end he had said, "I want to ask you something." I had said, "Ask." He had said, "I want to ask how you are in the form of the year since the loss." I had been quiet. I had said, "I'm in the form of the person who has been given the not alone knowing and who has been in the year with the not alone knowing." He had been quiet. He had said, "The not alone knowing is still the form." I had said, "Yes." He had been quiet. He had said, "Good." He had been quiet. He had said, "I want to tell you something about what the year has given me." He had said, "The year has given me the form of the uncle who is in the fuller contact with his niece." He had been quiet. He had said, "I have been the practical form." He had said, "The Thursday opened the fuller form." He had said, "The fuller form is better." I had said, "Yes." He had said, "Yes." The fuller form was good. The Thursday had opened it. The opening was good. Thank you for staying until the end. If this story connected with something real in your life, write it in the comments. I read every single one. And if you are carrying something in the interior form, the thing that has been held alone because the telling would have required the other people to be in the form the telling requires, I want to say something clearly before you go. The experience is speakable. The speaking does not have to be to many people. The speaking can be the Thursday call to one person. The speaking does not have to be now. The speaking can be 20 years from now if that is when the form arrives. The speaking is available whenever the form arrives. The not alone knowing is the gift that the speaking gives. The not alone knowing does not change the experience. The not alone knowing changes the form of the carrying. The changed form of the carrying is the lighter form. The lighter form is worth the speaking. Find the one person. Make the call. I want to say something about the specific quality of the interior form that Samuel had described and about what the description had given me for understanding the specific form he had been in for 20 years. He had said, "I want to describe the interior form to you because I think the description is useful." He had said, "The interior form is not the suppressed form." He had said, "The suppressed form is the form of the person who has the experience and who pushes the experience down when it tries to surface. He had said, "The interior form is different." He had said, "The interior form is the form of the person who has organized the experience into the carried form, the specific form of the experience that is present in the carrying, but that does not surface without the decision to surface it." He had said, "The June has been in the carried form for 20 years. He had said, "The carried form is not the painful form." He had said, "The carried form is the form of the experience that has been organized and integrated, and that is present in the interior, in the integrated form." He had been quiet. He had said, "I want you to know the carried form is not the unprocessed form." He had said, "The carried form has been processed across the 20 years." He had said, "The processing produced the integrated form." He had said, "The integrated form was the form I gave you on Thursday." He had said, "I gave you the integrated form rather than the raw form." He had been quiet. He had said, "The integrated form is the form that is safe to give." I had said, "Yes." He had said, "Yes." The integrated form had been safe to give. The giving had been good. I want to say something about the neuroscience concept of the hippocampal indexing theory, and what the hippocampal indexing theory had given me for understanding what the interior integrated form was. In neuroscience, the hippocampal indexing theory proposes that the hippocampus does not store the memories directly, but rather stores the index that points to the distributed cortical representations where the elements of the memory are stored. The hippocampus holds the cross-reference between the sensory, emotional, and contextual elements of the event that are stored in the neocortex. The hippocampal index allows the retrieval of the complete memory by activating the distributed cortical representations simultaneously. The hippocampal index is the organizational form of the memory rather than the content. Samuel's interior form had been the hippocampal index of the June, not the raw event stored as the single unit, the organized index that pointed to the distributed elements of the experience. The 20 years had produced the fully organized index, the sensory memories, the emotional memories, the contextual memories, all indexed and retrievable in the integrated form. The integrated form had been the form I had received on Thursday. I had received the index form rather than the raw form. The index form was the form that had the 20 years of the organization in it. The organization was the gift of the 20 years. I want to say something about the 10 days between the loss and the Thursday call, and about what the 10 days had been in the form they had been. The 10 days had been the specific form of the after that the loss produces, the specific form of the being in the world, while the world is the same and the interior is different. The morning coffee and the research data and the Pittsburgh streets had all been the same form they had always been. The interior had been in the different form since the loss. Both the same world form and the different interior form had been simultaneously present across the 10 days. The having both simultaneously is the specific hard form of the loss, the world that does not change its form for the changed interior. I had been in the having both simultaneously form for 10 days when the Thursday call had arrived. The Thursday call had not changed the world form. The Thursday call had not changed the interior form. The Thursday call had given me the context for the interior form. The knowing that the interior form had a history in the family, that the interior form had been survived, that the interior form was not the alone form. The context had not changed the form. The context had given the form the not alone quality. The not alone quality had been the gift. The gift had changed the carrying. I want to say something about what Remy had done in the week after the Thursday call, and about the form he had been in since the Thursday. He had been the form of the present and attending husband in the 10 days before the Thursday. He had continued in that form after the Thursday. The Thursday had produced something additional in his form, the form of the person who has received the information that the person he loves is in the not alone form and who is in the receiving of that information. He had said on the Friday after the Thursday, "I want to tell you something about what Samuel's call produced in me." He had said, "Samuel's call produced the form of the person who is relieved that the person he loves is in the not alone form." He had been quiet. He had said, "I have been in the form of the person who is in the support form, and who is also in the form of the person who cannot give the not alone knowing because he has not been in the experience. He had been quiet. He had said, I have been in the support form and the limitation of the support form simultaneously. He had been quiet. He had said, Samuel gave what I could not give. He had said, not the support form, I can give that. He had said, the knowing form. He had said, the knowing form is the form that requires the having been in the experience. He had been quiet. He had said, Samuel had been in the experience. I had said, yes. He had said yes. The knowing form required the having been. Samuel had the having been. The giving was his to give. I want to say something about the neuroscience research and about a specific conversation with a colleague in the months after the Thursday call, and about what the conversation had produced. Her name is Dr. Lena Kim. She had been working alongside me for 3 years and had known me through the year of the loss. She had said in June, I want to ask you something about the neuroscience and the uncle story. She had said, the consolidation makes the event available for the giving at the right time. She had said, I want to ask you what made the 20 years the right consolidation period rather than the 10 years or the 5. I had been quiet. I had said, the 20 years was the period that produced the reconsolidation event. She had said, the full talking between Samuel and Patricia. I had said, yes. She had said yes. She had been quiet. She had said, the reconsolidation event could have been produced earlier. I had said, yes. She had said, yes. She had been quiet. She had said, the reconsolidation requires the retrieval in the social form. She had said, the retrieval in the social form between Samuel and Patricia required the conditions for the retrieval. I had said, yes. She had been quiet. She had said, what produced the conditions? I had said, I don't know. She had been quiet. She had said, sometimes the conditions arrive on their own schedule. I had said, yes. She had said yes. She had been quiet. She had said, the 20 years produced the conditions. She had said, the conditions produced the Thursday. I had said, yes. She had said yes. The conditions had produced the Thursday. The Thursday had been good. I want to say something about what Samuel had said about his children and about whether he planned to tell them what he had told me. He had said, I want to tell you something about my children and about the telling. He had said, I have 2 children. He had said, they are 26 and 29 years old. He had said, I have not told them about June. He had said, I am thinking about the form for the telling. He had been quiet. He had said, I told you before I told them, because you were in the form that needed the not alone knowing most urgently. He had said, the urgency is the form that determined the order of the giving. He had said, the most urgent form receives the giving first. He had been quiet. He had said, my children are not in the urgent form at the moment. He had said, I will give them the knowing when the urgent form or the right form arrives. He had been quiet. He had said, I understand now that the knowing is mine to give. He had said, I did not understand that for 20 years. He had said, I understood it as the private thing, rather than the thing I had the right and the responsibility to give. He had been quiet. He had said, I understand now. The thing you have survived is the thing you have the responsibility to give when the giving is the needed form. I had said, yes. He had said, yes. The responsibility to give had arrived with the understanding. The understanding was good. I want to say something about what the Thursday call had given me for the neuroscience research and about the inside understanding it had added to the professional form. The memory consolidation research had been the form of the professional work that studied the transformation of the recent encoding into the durable form. The work had been good in the professional form. The Thursday call year had given me the inside understanding of the consolidation as the form that makes the experience available to the giving when the giving is the needed form. The professional consolidation had been the mechanism I had been studying, the sleep replay, the systems consolidation, the neocortical transfer. The personal consolidation had been Samuel's 20 years, the interior integration that had made the June available for the giving on the Thursday. Both had been the same process in the different registers. Both had produced the form that was available for the retrieval and the giving at the right time. The professional understanding and the personal year had been informing each other. The professional had given the vocabulary. The personal had given the inside understanding of what the consolidation does for the experience. It makes the experience available. The available experience is the experience that can be given. The giving is the gift. The gift was the Thursday call. The Thursday call was good. I want to say something about the year since the Thursday and about what the year has produced in the form of the relationship with Samuel and about what the fuller contact has been building. Before the Thursday, Samuel and I had been in the practical form contact, the Christmas and the Thanksgiving and the specific occasions. The contact had been warm and regular and in the surface form. After the Thursday, the contact had been the fuller form. The regular Sunday calls that had not been the form before the Thursday. The calls that had the Thursday in them as the background of the regular contact. The Sunday calls had been building the fuller form across the months, the fuller form between the uncle and the niece, the contact that had the interior dimension in it alongside the practical form. Both the practical form and the interior form had been in the Sunday calls since the Thursday. The practical form had not been reduced. The interior form had been added. The added interior form had produced the fuller contact. The fuller contact had been good. The Thursday had opened the fuller form. The open fuller form was better than the surface form alone. The surface form had been good. The fuller form was better. Both were good. The opening had been the Thursday call. The Thursday had been good. I want to say something about the specific form of the giving that Samuel had chosen and about what the form of the giving had been. He had given me the account in the specific form rather than the general. He had given me the specific June. He had given me the specific Thursday night and the specific June weekend and the specific form of the returning to the ordinary. He had given me the specific form because the specific form was the form that produced the not alone knowing in the form it needed to be received. The general form, the information that they had experienced a loss, would have been the information without the experience. The specific form, the Thursday night in June, and the specific form of the carrying was the information with the experience inside it. The experience inside the information was the not alone knowing. The not alone knowing had required the experience inside the information. The specific form had been the form that contained the experience. He had given the specific form because the specific form was the form that produced what I needed. He had known I needed the specific form because the specific form was the form that produced the not alone knowing. The not alone knowing required the recognition of the form in the other person's account as the form you are in. The specific account had produced the recognition. The recognition had been the not alone knowing. The not alone knowing had been the gift. I want to say something about a Sunday call in September, 2 months after the Saturday second call, in which Samuel had said something about Patricia and the giving and what the giving had given her. He had said, "I want to tell you something about what the Thursday produced in Patricia." He had said, "The Thursday produced the form of the lighter form in Patricia." He had said, "Patricia has been carrying the June in the interior form as I have been." He had said, "When I gave the June to you, Patricia's carrying changed." He had said, "The giving to you had reduced the form of the carrying for Patricia as well." He had been quiet. He had said, "I did not anticipate that." He had said, "I gave it to you to give you the not alone knowing." He had said, "The giving produced the lighter form in both of us." He had been quiet. He had said, "I want to tell you something about what that tells me about the giving." He had said, "The giving of the thing that has been carried does not only give to the receiver." He had said, "The giving also gives to the giver and to the others who have been carrying the same thing." He had been quiet. He had said, "The giving distributes the carrying." He had said, "The distribution of the carrying is the form of the lightning." He had been quiet. He had said, "The lightning was good for all three of us." I had said, "Yes." He had said, "Yes." The lightning had been for all three. The distribution had been good. The giving had produced the good in the three forms. I want to say something about what my mother had said after she had called Samuel, and about what she had told me about the call, and about what the call had opened between them. She had called me on the Monday after the Sunday call with Samuel. She had said, "I want to tell you about the call with Samuel." She had said, "The call with Samuel was the form of the two siblings being in the interior form with each other for the first time in 63 years. She had been quiet. She had said, "We have been siblings for 63 years in the practical form." She had said, "The practical form is the form that has been sufficient across 63 years." She had said, "The Thursday opened the interior form." She had been quiet. She had said, "I want to tell you something about the interior form opening between Samuel and me." She had said, "The interior form opening between siblings is the specific form of the interior form opening." She had said, "The sibling has the long history with you." She had said, "The interior form opening in the context of the long history has the specific weight of the long history." She had said, 63 years of the practical form and then the interior form opening. She had been quiet. She had said, "The opening in the context of the 63 years was the specific weight." She had said, "I received the specific weight." She had been quiet. She had said, "I want you to know the Thursday opening was good for more than you." I had said, "Yes." She had said, "Yes." The Thursday had been good for more than me. The ripple had been real. I want to say something about what the year has given me for the understanding of the form of the uncle, and about the fuller picture of who Samuel is in the form the Thursday call has revealed. I had known Samuel for 33 years in the practical form. The practical form had been real and warm, and the form he had given across 33 years. The Thursday call had given me the fuller form, the practical form, and the interior form simultaneously. The fuller form was better than the practical form alone. The practical form had been good. The fuller form was better. The fuller was the same person in the fuller form. The fuller included the practical and the interior. The interior had been there the whole time. The practical had been the surface form. The interior had been the deep form. I had been receiving the surface form for 33 years. The Thursday had given me the deep form. Both were Samuel. The surface form and the deep form had been the same person at the different depths. The Thursday had been the depth available. I had received the depth. The depth was good. The fuller form was good. The 33 years were good. The Thursday was good. All of it was good. I want to say something about a specific day in the research in October, 2 months after the Thursday call, when a specific finding had arrived in conversation with the year. I had been analyzing the sleep replay data from the new experimental cohort, the specific hippocampal recordings during the sleep period after the learning sessions. The data had been showing the specific pattern of the reactivation. The neurons that had been active during the learning event were being reactivated in the coordinated sequences during the slow-wave sleep. The reactivation sequences had been producing the specific form of the cortical coactivation. The cortical regions that held the distributed elements of the memory were being activated in the coordinated form by the hippocampal reactivation. The coordinated form had been the consolidation mechanism. The mechanism had been working in the sleep period in the form that the data had been showing. I had been receiving the data in October with the Thursday in the background. The hippocampal reactivation of the learning event in the sleep period and Samuel's reactivation of the June in the full talking between him and Patricia had been the same mechanism in different registers. Both had been the post-event processing that made the event available for the giving. Both had been the coordinated reactivation. Both had been the consolidation. The consolidation had been good. The data had been good. Both were good. I want to say one last thing about the Thursday call and about what the call had been in the form that the year has shown me it was. Samuel had said, "I am giving you the sooner." He had been right. The sooner had been the gift. The sooner had arrived 10 days after the loss, rather than 20 years after the event. The sooner had arrived because Samuel had done the work of the full talking between him and Patricia that had made the giving possible. The work of the full talking had been the reconsolidation that had updated the memory into the form that could be given. The form that could be given had been the gift. The gift had arrived on Thursday. The Thursday had been the sooner. The sooner had been good. The 20 years had not been required for me to receive the not alone knowing. The 20 years had been the period Samuel had needed to arrive at the giving. The arriving at the giving had been his. The gift had been mine. The gift was the not alone knowing. The not alone knowing was mine. The Thursday had been good. The mine was good. I want to say something about what the most significant thing Samuel had said had given me for the year and about the form the understanding had taken in the months since. He had said, the experience is speakable. He had said, the speaking does not have to be to many people. He had said, the speaking can be the Thursday call to one person. The saying had been the most complete thing. The most complete thing had given me the form of the understanding that the interior thing I was carrying was also speakable. Not the loss alone, the interior form that the loss had produced. The interior form had been speakable in the form that the right person receives. I had been receiving the account of the right person form from Samuel for the full year, the form of the person who can receive the thing without requiring it to be in the form other than it is in. I had been given the name for the right person form by Samuel's calling me. The being called had been the naming of the right person form. The named form was mine. I had been in the right person form. The right person form was the form that received the interior thing. The receiving was the form. I had been in the form. The form had been good across the year. The year had been good in the form. I want to say something about the most recent Sunday call with Samuel and about what the call had been in the form the year had arrived at. He had called at noon in the established Sunday call form. We had been in the call for 35 minutes in the form the year had built. He had been telling me about the week in the form that the fuller contact had been building. Near the end of the call he had said, I want to tell you something about what the Sunday calls have given me. I had said, tell me. He had said, the Sunday calls have given me the form of the uncle who knows his niece in the fuller form. He had been quiet. He had said, I have known you in the Christmas and Thanksgiving form for 33 years. He had said, the Thursday opened the fuller form. He had said, the Sunday calls are the fuller form expressed in the regular contact. He had been quiet. He had said, I want you to know I prefer the fuller form. He had said, not because the Christmas and Thanksgiving form was insufficient. He had said, because the fuller form is the form that has more of who we both are in it. He had been quiet. He had said, the more of who we both are form is the better form. I had said yes. He had said yes. The more of form was better. The better form had been built from the Thursday. The Thursday had opened the more of form. The more of form was good. Both of us were in it. The form was good. I want to say something about the form of the receiving the Thursday call in real time and about what had been produced in the moment of the receiving. He had said, I want you to receive this in the form it is being given, rather than the form you expect from me. I had said yes to that request before I had known what was coming. The yes had been the form of the receiving, the opening of the receiving to the form that was being given. The form that was being given had been the interior form from the person who had not been in the interior form before. The yes had made the receiving possible in the right form. If I had not said yes in the form that the request required, I might have received the interior thing in the wrong form, the surprised form, the managing around the surprise form. The yes had been the right form for the right receiving. The right receiving had made the not alone knowing possible. The not alone knowing had required the right receiving. The right receiving had required the yes. I had said yes. The yes had been good. The receiving had been good. The not alone knowing had been good. All three had followed from the yes. The yes had been the form. I want to say something about the year since the Thursday, and about what it has been and about the form the year has had. The year had been the form of the year that had the Thursday in it as the orienting event. The Thursday had changed the form of the year in the specific way, not the eliminating the difficulty of the loss, the giving of the not alone knowing that had changed the form of the carrying. The year of the carrying with the not alone knowing had been different from the year of the carrying in the alone form. The different form had been the carrying with the knowing that it had been survived. The carrying with the knowledge that Samuel and Patricia had been in the same form 20 years before and had arrived at the full talking and the integrated form, and the giving. The knowledge that the form had been survived was the thing that the not alone knowing gave. The survived form was what had changed the carrying. The carrying was real. The Thursday had changed the form of the carrying from the alone form to the not alone form. The not alone form was the better form. The year had been in the better form because of the Thursday. The Thursday had been good. The year had been good. Both of us were in it. The form was good. I want to say something about what the Thursday call has given me for the neuroscience research in the specific form of the changed attending to the consolidation period. I had been studying the consolidation for 5 years in the form of the scientist who found the mechanism fascinating. The work had been good. The Thursday call year had given me the inside understanding of what the consolidation period produces in the live form. The 20 years of the interior integration that made the June available for the giving when the giving was the needed form. The sleep replay and the system's consolidation had been the professional mechanism. The 20 years had been the leave mechanism. Both had been the same process, the transformation of the recent encoding into the durable available form. The available form was the form that could be given. The giving was the external form of what the consolidation had produced internally. The professional finding and the personal year had been the same. The consolidation makes the event available. The available event is the event that can be given to the person who needs it. The giving is the completion of the consolidation. The completion had been the Thursday call. The Thursday had completed the June. The June had been completed in the giving. The giving was good. The Thursday was good. The year was good. All of it was good.